Hey there guys, and welcome to another noob-friendly request from me. I am Krozzfyre. I'm not going to do the stupid introduction, I keep doing it. Let's get this thing on the go. So, we've got Weeman over here, Weeman playing as the Soviets, and now I've cast one of Weeman's replays before for another noob-friendly cast, or beginner-friendly cast, depending if you are offended by the term noob. You shouldn't be, because some people are noobs, and that's just the way that the game is. But Weeman's had a little rethink of his strategy. He's going to come out with some improvements, I hope, and we'll see how he does against the opponent, which is going to be Urfi. I'll turn on the playlist so you can keep that up there. And Urfi is another sort of, he's about the same level, I believe, seeing as they're loading in. So they should have equal amount of experience in the game, but not skill. Skill isn't measured in the whole level thing. But let's take the fog of war off. Let's have a look at what Weeman's looking at. The first thing he's going to do is capture this point and then move on into the field. Something you can do on this map, which just gives you that extra bit of security, is to ignore this point, go straight for the field and stand right here. If you stand right here, you will be able to beat your opponent to the punch to get into this building, unless your opponent's coming up behind this fence, in which case you can't see him come into this back door, which is located here. Okay, so it's a nice mine placement if you can place a mine there, or you can place a mine there, because it does prevent the use of the building. Well, it doesn't prevent the use of the building, but those guys will, they'll all sort of, they'll cramp up right outside the door and eat a nice mine. But it doesn't matter because there's no pressure up top, because it looks like his opponent's probably going to be focusing on the bottom side of the map. Generally with Colonial Firma, it's difficult if you're on the right hand side, because this cutoff point is huge. It denies the whole area of the bottom. So it's you either need to defend that hugely or just ignore the bottom completely and go for the top, which you can see he is doing. He's going for a bit of a conscript spam. He's getting 3 conscripts out early. He's going to use these engineers into some cover. No, you can't actually get cover from these logs. It's a little bit unfortunate, but it does block the line of sight, funnily enough. So these guys are right next to each other but not firing at each other. So these guys are kind of useless at the moment, especially now that there's Grenadier's coming and he's not in cover. He is going to be backed up by conscripts. What he needs to do is focus off this. He needs to focus off the pioneers first, because if he can force those guys to retreat, then he can be easy enough to flood these guys. But now that they're all in green cover and the Russians aren't in any green cover at all, it's kind of a poor engagement choice. He doesn't really want to be doing this. But these guys aren't in that much cover. I mean, 1 or 2 of them are. But the directional cover means that they're not really benefiting much from it. So you can still force off those pioneers if you can. Meanwhile, these conscripts have just run straight on past these grenadiers and are going to try and cap the point. What he needs to do is focus on this truck, because that's what he's going to be doing. There you go. But he does need 2 deaths for the carelessness, really, to send them in without realizing that there's troops here. Pioneers were stuck it out. He got these guys out. He shouldn't have got these guys out that quick, because you were winning the battle against the Pioneers. You could have got the Pioneers out in a sec. Like I said, as soon as the Pioneers are down, you've suddenly got such a huge numbers force against that Grenadier. Now these conscripts need to get out. These conscripts aren't in cover. They aren't going to stand up to 3 people. There's a good Molotov coming out, and it isn't dodged. You guys do run through the flames, just cheekily. He does stand in there, taking a little bit of extra damage over time. But I mean, that was kind of okay. You sort of clawed that back a little bit. But unfortunately, like this top side is really struggling now. The conscripts, rightly so, didn't retreat because they still are combat effective. Because they still have quite a few troops in there, so they've got a bit of health. There's no point retreating straight back for no reason. So being in this building is granting you that 1 kill if nothing else. Now you can get them out of the building, get them into the green cover around this tractor to deny the cap as well. But you're also still quite close to the building, so you can run in there if needs be. But conscripts at this range aren't great, especially as these guys are in yellow cover as well. We do see on the bottom side you're actually capping up this field, which is good, because it's if nothing else, it's going to deny it for your opponent. Obviously it's not connected because you don't have your cutoff, but denying the fuel is always important. So the 4th conscript is now out. We see that he's managed to get this really forward MG in there, so that's super useful for him, very annoying for you. What do you do against it? Well, you can, now that these guys are now that these engineers are distracted from the fire, yep, you URAring in to get off a Molotov, because the MG will take time to change windows anyway. So Molotov should do some good damage and be able to push them off a little bit. Meanwhile, these conscripts in here, like I said, conscripts haven't taken much damage, but neither of the grenadiers in the hands. The field is in the hands of your opponent, so that conscript isn't doing a great job. 1 Molotov hasn't been enough to dislodge this MG. The second Molotov should, because he's down around about half health, so we lose a lot of members there. Again, these conscripts are going around capping up nice, but because you haven't got this cut off, it's not really benefiting you really at all. These conscripts are deadly close to the... okay, so you haven't actually got the actual munitions. You use the URR a bit needlessly because he was already firing at something else. But you can see that they're actually burning, they are actually dying, and this is good what you've done. I'm going to pause this real quick for the newer players. Each building has windows that your MG can set up, or doors and things like that, the MG can set up in and fire out of. So this building is good because it has, on all four sides, it has windows that it can set up on. But it does take a little bit of time to actually set up. So if you have your troops here, for example, the MG will start focusing, setting up here to actually take out these conscripts. But if you run around the building, if you keep on running around the building, you can do this by queuing up your commands, then the MG is not really going to be able to catch up with you. It'll keep on setting up in this window, and then desetting up so it can set up in this window, and then decrewing so it can set up in this window, just trying to continuously chase your conscripts around. It's a nice way of trying to avoid damage, and it's frustrating for your opponent as well, especially because obviously you're just waiting for the time for the Molotovs to get in there, waiting for the munitions to take over, which doesn't take a lot of time anyway. But you've done a good job of dislodging this MG anyway in the first place. So now up here we see that these conscripts are kind of just sort of sat in there, not doing anything. They need to go and cap this fuel because you have no fuel income. Neither, well, your opponent does. Your opponent is using this fuel income, but there's no competition here. You can just jump straight on out. It doesn't matter if you lose the building if you have the point, but hopefully no. So this MG is going to be able to get out, and he is still with another MG. So yeah, you may as well have retreated there. You might have been able to get in the building and sort of break the suppression, but not. Wouldn't have done great. So yeah, you got your conscripts out. Just a quick tip as well: when you actually have your troops in there, you can actually, if you select them to come out here, they'll come out the front door or on the back door, and that's really important to actually get to grips with. Because if you can dictate which door your troops come out of, then you can either be there quicker or get away quicker or break the line of sight that the opponent has on you, etc., etc. So it's something to learn. It does take some time, but yeah. So now the MG is in another. Not in a good position now. He was so close. He was so close to getting this. But you actually do anyway. You could have just ran out again. If you select the MG, you'll find out where he's actually facing, where he's going. He's going straight in this building now. There should be a Molotov going straight away. If you got a Molotov going in straight away, you've got all this setup time, and then all the de-setup time as well to that the Molotov will be doing damage. Don't be afraid to throw two Molotovs in there. You might think it's a little bit of overkill. Obviously, you don't have the munitions for it right now. But it's definitely going to kill that thing. So he's going to go down in the building, I believe. There's a nice rifle nade coming in from this supporting grenadiers. But they are still quite low. These conscripts need to get on over here and do something. As to these conscripts, they need to be capping or something. They can't just be standing on the points. These guys need to be reinforcing. The engineers could be helping out as well. I know it is difficult to try and keep control of all of your units at one point over the map, but that's how you improve. That's how you get better. So you treated off the one conscript squad, which is the wrong idea. There was this guy retreating back there because he had so much health left. He still had 3 members, and you very easily would have taken out these grenadiers here. Good little engagement. You should win this, and you might be able to throw a Molotov. I'm not too sure if you have the range, but a Molotov there would be good because it would dislodge them if nothing else. Grenadiers. Did the Grenadiers go down? No, they retreated off. Okay, so no damage, which is okay, but like I say, you could have done more damage if you kept both the conscripts there. This conscript squad is now not doing anything by being in this point. You need your cut-off point. Desperately need to put a cut-off point for that fuel. Excuse me. And you can see now the conscripts are actually losing this engagement against the rapid-firing pioneers. That's because he didn't use a Molotov. I mean that you really do need to use a Molotov. But well, I said that one guy does go down, so it is. Oh, 2 guys go down. So it's going to be to the wire down there. Meanwhile, in this cutoff, we see more pressure. These guys need to get out as soon as humanly possible. They're not in any good position. He shouldn't be thinking about throwing a Molotov or anything like that. He's probably going to go down. If he doesn't, he's very lucky. Okay, so he's very lucky. Saved by the blizzard there. And a vehicle out. The Flammenwerfer are out now. Okay, so one of your conscripts went down. The other one's just sitting here trying to get this. Have you got 18-8? No, you haven't got 18-8, or you're not even building 18-8. Pause. Okay. It's always good to get your field infirmary out, and ideally you want it out before the 10-minute mark. That's kind of like a loose rule of thumb to use. But as soon as you've seen this vehicle, you need it anti-vehicle, because this thing is going to completely roll over all of your troops. And you had the munitions, you had the fuel, excuse me, and the manpower to go for the 18-8 upgrade. Going for this field infirmary before your 18-8 is going to mean that this guy has a much longer capital field play. When I say capital, it means there's nothing on the field that your guys can do anything about. So he can just really, and he's got the mobility as well of being a vehicle. He can just roll around without having his engine damaged and really start capitalizing on all your guys. What do you do against this? Well, like I say, 18-8 would have been the first choice. You need to get the 18-8s out as soon as possible. Those conscripts there wouldn't have actually been able to survive, I imagine, before the 18-8s got out. But you decap that, that's fine, move on out. Because then there's nothing else for this half-track to fire at, and you've got time for 18-8s to build. Also, if you weren't getting this 250 field infirmary, 250 manpower field infirmary, you could have made a choice and gotten out a guard squad as well. The guard squad would have been okay, but because you haven't had much munition income at all this game, there's only obviously one munitions point which has been in the hands of your opponent for most of the game. Obviously you wouldn't have the opportunity to upgrade your DP light machine gun. You wouldn't be able to button this guy either. So it's difficult, but 18-8 and guards are the technically like the cheapest way of dealing with it and still having a productive force. If you've got an AT gun out right now, without an 18-8, especially on this half track, the half track is going to be able to just roll all over you. But obviously the AT gun, this gun is great for the barrage ability against the infantry, the emplacements, that you've got the MGs down as well. But that said, you haven't got the building down for tier 2. But I'd say, you know, tier 1 is kind of is not because you haven't had the shock factor for tier 1. There's not going to be any units you really want out there. Again, you got all these troops sitting about, and none of them going for this cutoff point. None of them is. Well, this guy is sitting in fire. These guys weren't, so they're very low now. And again, just missing this cutoff point is costing you. These Vet 1 conscripts are going to leg it out of there, just about make it out away from this guy. So do you see the MG placement there? We have got a good flank coming through. So a good Molotov going down in there. What I'd do is I'd get into this cover as well, this yellow cover here. Just so if he does change his focus, you're not going to be doing any damage. But again, this conscript is only, I think this conscript's been here for a long time now, and he's not been doing anything. Which is poor. He could very definitely be coming up and doing a great job supporting up here. These guys are no longer suppressed, so they can come up and throw in another Molotov if he needs to be. And obviously you need to bear in mind that there's a half track about somewhere as well. So we're lucky. I don't know how we got that kill. Might have been the last of the Molotov going off. But like I say, all of these unused troops really are slowing you down. The whole point of having so many conscripts out is that your conscripts can be everywhere and doing everything at the same time. So you just need, again, I believe this was a bit of an issue with the last replay that I cast of yours, where making sure your units are doing the right things at the right times. Okay. So the half track is now, I don't know how half track took that much damage, mind. If he just did that with small arms fire, that's kind of impressive. But still no 18, or the 18-8s are out. So this guy should go through an 18-8, needs to get out straight away because he's very low, and the flamers will start doing a great amount of damage. These guys need to charge on in and get another 18-8 off as soon as they have the actual munitions to do it. It's 25 munitions, you haven't got the munitions, okay. Stay back, stay behind the line of sight. Keep your naps, that's fine. You will lose a guy to cold probably. But you haven't got the missions, it's too early to charge in. Too early to charge in, you're not going to be able to do much against this guy. And again, these conscripts sat on the other side not doing anything. Okay, now I've recognized the conscripts going to move up and I'm going to start doing a little bit of damage, but these guys you can see very low, you have to get out of there now. So it's just revealing this guy a little bit too early. You could have put some pressure on, drawn him out, drawn him in towards your base with this conscript squad, and then chased up the back. But look, the small arms damage is actually doing a significant amount of... Oh, and he goes down. The small arms fire alone. Happy days. But that's more poor play from your opponent than good play by yourself, because you left him there a little bit too long. But that's, I mean, and map control is actually surprisingly looking quite good. I say surprisingly, I don't mean that offensively. But this cut-off point is so huge and vital, especially as you focused a little bit on the bottom now, and sort of like in the middle part of the opening phase, if you will. So your opponent's going to be able to take up this fuel here, and you've still got no fuel income, even though you are sitting on 150. It's not a huge amount. You have got 6 conscript squads out. 6 conscripts is a lot to have in mind, to take care of, and to do effective. Well, it's not really, because you've got so many things on the field, so many units you can play with. You can see this big, huge ball now coming out. It needs to split up. You can't send them all in this one way. You should select these 2 guys to come through this path here. So you're just covering all of your bases. It was a good push on this field, and these Panzer Grenadiers will start doing a lot of damage. We need to get a Molotov off from there as soon as possible. A great grenade coming from the Panzer Grenadier. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm sorry, I've got to pause. That was hilarious. That was great. Alright, so right now, you're actually in a very good position. The half track has gone down, so that's 120 munitions that have gone down, plus the fuel and the manpower, and you've got the Panzer Grenadiers to go down, which is another 360 manpower, but that was more through his poor, unfortunate retreating path. Now is the time to capitalize. This is the last time that your conscripts will be hugely viable before there's an Ostwind out, or before there's more vehicles out. Spread them out. Spread them out across the entire map. Cap up everything that you can with your combat engineers that you do have left. Either start building for your next buildings, or start getting some. I haven't got any mines. I'd really go for some munitions points right now, because you are relying heavily on Molotovs and on 18-8, and you shouldn't ever. I mean, generally you see a lot of fuel as compared to munitions, and Germans tend to go for more munitions points than fuel, but you can, whatever you need, you can OP up. And you've got, like I say, floating a little bit here. I mean, you can get guards out if needs be to protect against the next guys coming in. But right now, right in this very moment in time, let's have a little look at Urfi's. There you go, he's done 4 units. 4 units, whilst you've got out like 7 units. So you should have supreme map control. And with this, you should take advantage of it, because you've got conscripts. You can't hardpoint, you can't like lock anything down really that well. Krozzfyre gives you the bonus of having a lot of buildings about, but there's no MGs, there's no sort of there's no mine play that you can get out. So what I would do in this situation, I would definitely get some OPs down just to solidify my my advantage. You can get more troops out in the field, but more troops means that you have less manpower income, because your army, the more your pop cap goes up, the less your manpower income comes in. Controlling points doesn't increase your manpower income at all. It only increases your munition and fuel income. So manpower is entirely dictated. The highest point you have in your manpower is your opening game, unless you lose everything. Something for you to think on then anyway. But like I say, OP in some points up, especially if you can OP your cutoff, because you've had a lot of problem controlling the cutoff point. It's going to at least give you a lot of time to deal with whatever comes. But let's continue on this replay. So initially, I mean, it's kind of been more down to your opponent's lack of attention or lack of good play. Panzer Grenadier is going to melt this conscript squad. Okay, so that's the reverse now. Now that Panzer Grenadier squad that went down here is suddenly balanced out slightly by these Panzer Grenadiers taking out one of your conscripts. Conscripts are obviously only 240, but I mean, those guys are still full health, still fully able to do everything. Your guys are not in cover, firing against guys that are in cover. You can move them up here. I would have moved them up here. You can get some, yeah, there you go, you're starting to move them up now. I mean, it doesn't matter that you haven't got the VP point, it doesn't matter that much, because you're not losing VPs by moving. But the combat engineers really shouldn't have stuck that out that long. They should have moved. Great Molotov over the trees there onto the Panzer Grenadiers. Unfortunately, they don't take a huge amount of damage. That's something I've noticed when you throw Molotovs over walls and things. Your opponent doesn't take a huge amount of damage. I don't know whether that's some sort of bug or not. But now that you've been charged in against, get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. Because if he can take down 2 conscript squads, which he's about to do, paid for himself. Well, he paid for his other guy that went down, and then some as well. So that's unfortunate. These guys can now you can move slightly into the point to stop the cap. Unfortunately, you haven't got your foot in there, so he's going to take the cap, and there's going to be a rifle nade coming in against you as well. A lot of damage. He's going to win that engagement quite handily now. Yeah, those conscripts had to get out, especially against the force of the MG. Pause. Okay, so I know it's only been like a minute or two since the last pause, a couple of minutes. But you can see in that time, the tide of the battle is really changing against, like I say, the conscripts are suddenly becoming not as viable as they were. The way to counter this is to keep them bunched up, keep them together, so you can just swarm things en masse just with numbers alone. And you need to be thinking now, what am I going to be doing next? What am I going into? Where is this build leading to? Because you can't win a game just on conscripts alone. You can win the opening, you can kind of control the middle tier of the game as well, possibly with conscripts, but you need to have the overall grand scheme of the plan. What am I going to be doing with my fuel? What am I going to be doing in the mid to late game? What do I want to get out? So I don't know if this is, yeah, this is bugged slightly, so I can't actually see the commanders, but there's no commander picked just yet anyway, that I can see anyway. Another good grenade going off. Does a bit of damage to these guys. These guys should now be used to cap. No. See, you got them out again at the wrong time. These guys are very useful. They can just stay in there and cap. Meanwhile, your more heavily armored ones could have gone forward to cap this forward point, or could have challenged this point down here. I think I just heard another conscript squad going down. I think it might have been these guys. Look, this is where the trouble of having too many units in the field occurs, because you just haven't got enough control over all of them. If you had sort of grouped them up, so okay, like this would be an effective capping group now, because this guy would be able to go and take whoever is in here on pretty handily. If you got the flank on right, he came down here around the fence, like hopped over the fence and jumped in, you'd be able to flank anything that was in there, and it was just a Grenadier squad. Look, so those two guys could have taken out the Grenadier squad, but now you're splitting them up. Now you're splitting them up to cap. They're going to be unable to push these guys off, so these guys can just keep on capping away. I mean, your one conscript squad running down the road against Grenadiers, the Grenadiers are going to be able to turn, take a couple of shots off while you're in negative cover, get a couple of kills, and then suddenly it's a very even, well, very uneven match, let's say. No half track out now, so the first thing you do is just get an 18 aid off from there and then leg it. Yep, 18 aids off, so it's cool. You can cap up this point handily enough. Move on down here to start supporting something else, or just move, because you're not doing anything there really. I mean, it'll be a long, slow fight against the half track, and meanwhile you're... Oh, it's great Molotov actually. Molotov might have been able to change the course of the battle. He's still got one guy left in there. One guy goes down. Now he's soft retreating, so he's not firing back. It's going to be a difficult one. This MG is placed right outside the building. What this guy needs to do is get in the building, and then what you can do, you can just exit out and throw the Molotov. You can throw the Molotov now and then get in the building. This is the wrong way around to come around though, because you are in the arc look of the MG. So if the MG, yep, MG is going to be able to change focus and pin both you guys down there now. So I don't know whether you might take out on that guy or not. I just heard that you lost another conscript squad here while this guy is going down. It is very difficult. It is very, very difficult to keep an eye on all of your troops. But that's where the audio commands are really... That's the difference between Company Heroes 1 and Company Heroes 2. That the audio cues you get for a lot of things are vital in order to ascertain the right information of what you should be doing. So you have picked your command now. You're going for the ISU 152. So all of this fuel that you've banked is going to go towards that. So as long as you can get 2/3 of a command point in the time it takes you to get sort of 400 manpower, then you should be okay. The way you do that is by hitting troops, getting hit by troops, building buildings, that sort of stuff. All the good things, yo. But I feel that the ISC 152 could be under-supported, possibly. Depends on how you use your conscripts. If you use your conscripts as a very far forward screening field, it'll be great. Okay, so you need to get this 18-8 off and get out, because you'll definitely lose this fight. 18-8 is good. You can now move out, run away. No one likes flamers. No, that's a waste of an URA there, because the flamers will make you sort of start to crawl around. There again, look, it just catches you out. So even though you're moving at maximum speed, you're moving at maximum speed of crawling. So it's a poor choice there. You can get another 18-8 off, just keep doing the damage, keep the damage on, and these guys are up behind as well, which would be able to get another one. But it's a good 18-8 actually. But it's always difficult to try and counter something that counters you. But meanwhile, you've got good map control up on top now. Like I say, the low unit count of the the lower unit count of the Germans as compared to your relatively high unit count, despite losing a couple of your conscripts. I think at this point in the game, the last conscript squad or two that you lost, you shouldn't have replaced, simply because, like I say, the viability of conscripts right now is reducing. The Flamer half track, it's got a couple of MGs out and things, so he's able to pin down your guys and start wiping squads. So this guy needs to get out. Yeah, that's good. Well recognized there, but these guys are going to run into their doom as well, because they're coming in the same direction. MG42 is still there. What he could have done is he could have used these guys to come around and use the little hole in the fence here to come through. I'll show you the hole in the fence properly. Oops, excuse me, I don't know what I did there. Little hole in the fence right there to come around and flank the MG. But frontal battle against Grenadiers isn't going to go too well, unfortunately. You're going to have to get those guys out there, and they are quite close to freezing. Don't want to move forward because the MG42 you know is still there. Hunter Grenadiers running into your conscripts, so conscripts are not going to have a great time, especially as they're not bedded whatsoever and they don't have PBSHs. You need to retreat. You stayed there too long. Taking unnecessary losses from a battle that you were never going to win. You could have stuck about to try and throw a Molotov, but it wouldn't have done a huge amount, I don't think. So you're better off just trying to reserve your manpower and getting out of there. Now we see that you sort of in terms of manpower, you're a little bit behind for the ISU-152, but you got the timing quite well. I mean, you're about to hit CP5. You've got enough fuel for it, and then some more as well if you want to go for another building. I would suggest going for a tier 2 building so you can get some... okay, so yeah, you've got in that building, nice, that's good. You're going to be able to start harassing the P-Grens from afar. Meanwhile, this fuel up top, conscripts again, were not... The fire was right there, they weren't utilising the fire, they're now freezing in the face of an MG. Just run. Okay, good, you recognise that, that's fine. Here comes the flame half-track, you need to get the pioneers out of there, sorry, the combat engineers out as soon as humanly possible, because the flames will just decimate anything in the building, and down go your... down go those guys. But here comes the ISU-152. The first thing you want to do is just upgrade the machine gun. Second thing you want to do is hit Z or whatever if you've not got grid keys on, because that increased field vision, I mean, you can only really fire straight ahead of you anyway. And if you've got that on, did you just lose another conscript squad? That's sad. You've lost too many squads now. But look, okay, so yeah, there you go. Now you've just switched on over to it, but you're too far forward with this ISU-152. Well, there's nothing that you've seen that can counter you at the moment. You're unsupported, very vulnerable. It could be anything around the corner, but look at the damage it does. Panzer is just instantly jibbing. Gonna run on out there. There's gonna be another shell shot. No. Yes. No. Misses anyway. But you kept these low numbered conscript squads around to cap up, and again you can come and use it to cap up this point here and cut off your cut off back as well. So you're running straight up to the top, which is it's okay to go up with one squad, but you didn't really want to go up with two squads because your ISU-152 is now your main focus. You have to keep this guy alive for as long as humanly possible in order to really reap the benefit of having him. You also need to get out a combat engineer squad as soon as possible as well, because this guy is going to be starting to take some damage soon, and you need to keep him at full health as much as you can. Okay, so now you're going for your cut off. These guys are in a spot of bother, but you should be able to get a Molotov off nice enough onto the top of the MG squad, and the low health conscripts are now. But you know, instead of retreating them straight away, you're able to decap this point anyway. Conscripts coming in. The ISU-152, I'd move him a little bit further back. He's got such huge range. You can see how far his range is. I'd keep him further back, and I keep these conscripts. The conscripts need to be doing something. Ideally, capping up that cutoff point. ISU-152 coming through the trees. Like a T-Rex. Now he's way too far overextended. This is not where you want your ISU-152 to be. He's got his rear armor like sort of on the central action point, if you will, and that's never fun. Like I say, you just don't know what your opponent's got. But I'm gonna have a cheeky little look. So he's not actually got the he's got the tech to get out of P4, but he's just waiting for an elephant. So the elephant will counter your ISU-152. If you have any sort of thinking that it wouldn't, well, you're wrong, unfortunately. The ISU-152 does lose, but I mean the ISU-152 does much more infantry damage than the elephant does. That's where it makes up for it. So this is where you need the screening forces. This is where that pack gun would have come in handy as well, because you can put pressure on the elephant rather than the elephant putting pressure on you. Your ISU-152, you're trying to use it a bit too mobile. Like I say, you should try and think of it more as like a secured point. It will just decimate this MG42, and after that, you should leave it in the middle. You should set up some mines around the entrance points for the ISU-52, and then just leave him there. Just let him do the damage. Because look, as soon as you move your ISU-152, suddenly now this is opened up. Now 2 Panzer Grenadier squads with Shreks. It's going to take some time for you to get your ISU-152 back there and in position. Conscripts need to get out. Fortunately for you, he didn't choose to finish him off, but he might finish him off with this guy now. Very low health Panzer Grenadiers here, so if you can stick it out a little bit longer. No, yeah, okay, that's fine. That's a good choice to get him out there. ISU-152 starting to take some shots. Unfortunately, missed that shot. He could have jibbed that squad if he was lucky. Conscripts taking this field point, which is cool, but again, this point is should be such a central focus for you. It's your cutoff. I mean, you're losing so much income from not taking it. But your ISU-152 is in a relatively poor position again. Okay, so it's another conscript squad down. You're replacing the conscript squad. Stop replacing these conscripts. They've done their bit. Now that they're up against tougher troops in the Panzer Grenadiers, and they've got like their counters out as well. Now they're really not going to be doing much damage. And like I say, you need engineers out to start doing some repair work. Down goes the half track, but I think we are closing in the time for Elephant. Elephant isn't too far away, but having that harassment on the field does mean that it's going to take longer for him to get it out. So SC-152 has a chance to capitalize a little bit more, but like I say, he's in a poor position. Being on this field here means there's so many possible flanks that can come in, up and around. It's very difficult to control that. If the ISU-152 is down on this road here, he's got central vision all the way down to here. He can mine up some areas, like I say, to protect your flanks. But this is costing you the game right now. I don't know if you win or lose. I haven't seen it. This is the first time watching the replay. But this is why you're not winning outright then, should we say. If the ISU-152 had been just here, it can easily protect that point as well. And it's just Pioneers, look. It's just Pioneers that are capping up and annoying you. Taking a couple of shots off the ISU-152. You might be able to get a squad jib. Very close to me, and you can probably just crush them by turning your cannon. But no, they're going to get out. And again, this is not the vehicle that Chase Seamus down with. G42 does do a little bit of damage on the way out, but if you have him just far back, he's going to be well supported. And this mortar should be yours. You should be able to, yeah, good Molotov. Keep moving forward with these conscripts, moving forward and putting pressure on, so that as soon as you retreat, you'll be able to pick up. There you go. Down he goes. You should be able to pick that guy up. Did you lose that? No, you got those guys out. That's fine. Okay, I gotta say, it's tempting to go for move your ISU-152 to take up and challenge this point, but not really. Conscripts, nah, you should. I mean, it's worth it to get that mortar, even if you lost that squad, because you don't have more. You've got plenty of conscripts. We haven't got any other support weapons. You haven't got anything else apart from conscripts. So anything that could add to your army, especially as you haven't got the building's huge ISU-152 shot there. One more could cause the death of all of those guys. Gets on out though. ISU-152 was in a kind of okay position there. He didn't really need to back out. Something else you can think of doing as well is firing off this concrete piercing round on it. It's not really worth it though. It's quite a lot of munitions which you don't have. But now the Elephant's been revealed. Elephant has been revealed, ladies and gentlemen. So ISU-152 is now thinking, oh shit. Rightly so. You're surprisingly close actually to a second ISU-152. And if you've got two ISU-152s and you lay down a marked vehicle on the Elephant and you ever get a flank off on him or get an 18-8 off on him, happy days. But unfortunately, now the conscripts are being used as screening, you've just completely forgotten about this point here. And this is really sad because you have such huge map control, because the guy's been waiting for this Elephant for so long. So now I'm going to see some ISU-152 on some Elephant action. You get some nice shock there. You pause it real quick and just to sort of show you, as the Assault Gun has the ability to do, every now and then it causes Grill Strike, which is the crew shock, which means that the guy just can't move, he can't do anything, he's just kind of frozen there temporarily, but obviously it does wear off over time. A good Molotov off in this MG does go down, go and recover it. Any of your other conscripts should be recovering these weapons because they are hugely vital to you, not only in denying your opponent, but also adding to the versatility of your guys. Again, too many troops standing about and not doing much, especially when there's vital caps that you need to be getting. So you know, you're focusing too heavily on one unit. Another cruise shock again. So this Elephant really should be losing, but because you've got the sight on him by having these forward conscripts, you're able to start picking off and doing some frontal damage out. Now, okay, now this is great. Now that you've been able to get that 18-8 off, now it's seriously impaired, and like I say, the vision is still in your favor because you've got the conscripts spotting for you. So yeah, some huge strikes going down. Now if you picked up that mortar earlier on, the mortar strike would be great because it started doing damage against his Pioneers. Don't focus too heavily on the Elephant though. I mean, if these Panzer Grenadiers are equally tasty of a target for the ISU-152. So close to getting that second ISU-152. I'll see if you actually do that. It'd be pretty cool to see if you do. P-Gren's in there. P1 P-Gren's goes down. Molotov. Wow. Okay. Now this smells like a good game now, especially if you can't get the second one off. I would have kept the pressure up with your conscripts because there was nothing really there. Let's take a fog of war off. There's only the Elephant and the Pioneers there. So a little interesting, sort of capping around each other, sort of a little dozy-do. Now you finally got your cutoff as well, so now your income's going to increase. So if you wanted to, you could have got the another ISU, but you're going for your tier 2, which is okay. I mean, just simply because you have the opportunity to get 2 ISUs doesn't mean you have to, but they're good, man. And if you've got the resources for it, do it. Definitely do it. At this point, I mean, you're in such control of the game. Simply by just spamming out the conscripts, you've had the bodies on the field to deal with it, and the ISU-152 has really done a number on the 23 kills. Look, 23 kills, done a number on the elephant as well. Conscript squad's better go down. Alright, okay. Well, it's late in the game. Let's not get too pined up about that. But that would definitely be my biggest piece of advice. Is just, again, it's just to be aware of your troops. And it's something that, like I mentioned in the last game, it's not something that just comes, oh yeah, now I can keep an eye on all my troops. It's something that does take a lot of practice, a lot of games to do, a lot of experience. And like I say, picking up on the audio cues, picking up on the visual cues in the mini-map, it's a lot of information you've got to process. But that's how you become a better player. So, like I say, a lot of troops again now not doing too much. You can move these guys a bit further forward to be a bit of a better screen for your ISU-152. I would definitely plant a mine up around here. What was that shot? Was that from the elephant? Let's take a photo. Whoa, back on. Okay, whatever. Yeah, repairing up the ISU-152 and getting some mines down. That is your guys' job. Like I say, if you didn't build that tier 2 building, which you are getting a pack gun from. Okay, pack gun's going to be good in the long term of things against this, but you've got the munitions from Mark vehicle on this. I mean, the damage done against them is so hugely increased. Plus, you'll always have vision from the spawn vehicle as well. The ISU-152 will have no problem taking down that elephant. But a little bit of a missed opportunity there. It's not the end of the world, because, like I say, it's kind of the end of the game. Kind of, anyway. I mean, obviously, you still got to win. But this gun should spell disaster for the elephant, and anything around it. You can get a barrage off on there as well. To, like I say, especially these big heavy vehicles, they normally always. Okay, yeah, second ISU-152, good play. I like that. With the big units, they almost always have some guys trying to repair him because it takes so long to do it. So any kind of form of barrage, more strike, is always good against these big, slow-moving vehicles because you're bound to catch some infantry surrounding it. Okay, conscripts on the grenadiers. Grenadiers gonna recover their energy, are they? Again, there's so many support weapons down here. I know it's right down their throats. Right from there coming in, you should have been able to hear that and move out of the way from there. So many support weapons on the field. You could have really used your ISU-152. Like I say, right now, your ISU-152 should be combating this guy. You should have get Mark vehicle down on it, and it will melt. There's so little health on it. But the pack gun is going to do the finishing blows, I believe. He's not moving out of the way. I think he's giving up hard a little bit. Destroyed engine. That guy's dead. That guy's so toast. Meanwhile, your other ISU-152 isn't doing anything. You could just sit him on this top VP up here if you wish. But as soon as his elephant goes down, I mean, let's have a look at Urfi. Yeah, I mean, he's got 90 fuel. He's not got anything enough to really to do anything against his ISU-152s. He lost those P-grens early as well, so back on over to Weeman then, just to watch the mop-up of the game. The revelation of the second ISU-152. Again, he should have always upgraded to the machine gun, because it will shoot down any overhead planes as well. I don't believe the elephant's still alive. We really should have been able to take care of that some time ago. Maybe a little bit scared, but the ISU-152 does do a good amount of damage against vehicles. Just not as much as an elephant. So, like I say, a Mark vehicle would have given you vision, would have given you the scouting plane over the head as well, which would have killed off this guy a little while ago. But there we go. I mean, 2 ISUs. He's got nothing against it. I can see some sort of disastrous one-shot coming in against this triple vet. Grenadiers takes so long. No, he's able to get him out of there, so only one of them goes down the retreat. That's good play by him because it's going to force you to use another one of your, or your same combat engineers, I guess, to go up and repair it. Emergency 1, this ISU, so now we've got okay, there he goes, look. Boom. 32 kills in this ISU-152. If you don't think that the ISU-152 is any good, you are wrong. But yeah, he's going to be able to mop up very easy now and certain these points, for as long as he needs to. The game is going to tick over very shortly. There you go. Good game. Areas of improvement. I'm going to try and do some areas of improvement for both of you guys. I think I've mentioned it so many times because it's so vital, is that when you're having so many conscripts out, it's because of their superior force. Now, you can't just send all of them out, like one guy to this cap, one guy to this cap, one guy to that cap, one guy to that cap, because what you'll see is, like you see in this replay, you'll quite often have just your conscripts sitting there like, got this point, man. What should we do now? This point's pretty shit, isn't it? Yeah, just sitting here for a little while. But if you have like two conscripts together, you can push off most any force that you'll find, and you can get a good flank off on any MG. Sorry, my arse is really... So I've been up all morning, sat here doing these pissing casts. So two conscripts together can flank and out damage most things that they'll encounter. And also setting up then, if you just have like the one conscript squad which you don't mind about, which you don't want it to engage in any combat, you just want to go capping up, you can just cap up, you can just shift cap up all of the points you want it to. ISU 152 was great timing coming out there. I don't know if you can hear, I'm getting spammed a little bit on Steam. And it's good because it came around about the right time for the fuel. I mean, you had a little bit of excess fuel, but it doesn't matter that much. You're able to control the fuel points quite well. This point here, if you would have lost the game, it would have been because of this point, because your opponent did put good pressure down on this here, whilst maintaining some control in this top area. You on the converse side weren't able to hold this tall, but just through sheer body of numbers from the conscripts, were able to keep up the top as well. But yeah, an interesting play. I mean, like that's all you've gone for. Well, you've obviously got tier 2 out now, but this was the very zenith of the game where you could have got out just the second ISU 152. You just won this game with conscripts alone. So have a little think about that. Think about the conscripts, you know, not with hit the dirt and PPSHs, just with Molotovs, just with 88s. They are still a very effective force, very cheap, and it doesn't matter if you lose them as well. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, around about the sort of 14-15 minute mark, I'd probably have stopped replacing every conscript squad I lost, because you need more things, like you need your engineers out to repair up the vehicles and plant mines and things, or build the buildings, build any OPs down as well. And that's still, you know, you don't need a building for it. So that's my 2 cents anyway. But hopefully, Weeman, you've improved once again from this replay. That would be tremendous if you did. You can definitely see some vast steps from the last replay you sent us. So next replay, I want to see you taking on Helping Hands or like BL bottom PL and whipping them in 1v1. So get that replay in, send to me, and I'll definitely cast that one. But thanks very much for watching another noob-friendly cast or beginner-friendly cast, depending on how PC you are. I've been Krozzfyre, you've been great, and I'll see you all guys next time. Take it easy.